everyone. In this tutorial, based on a request from a viewer, I'm going to show you how to create a wireframe globe in Affinity for desktop. I love to hear viewer requests because it lets me know what you want to see here on my channel. So if you have something in particular you'd like to learn in Affinity, let me know below. Are you ready? Let's get started. I'm working in a 3000 pixel canvas and I'm in the default vector studio, but you can create this from any of the default studios as well as custom ones as long as they have the rectangle tool. I'm going to start out by creating a 2500 pixel ellipse shape and create my vertical lines with 500 pixel spacing. You can decide the shape size and intervals that work best for you, but I do recommend starting with a shape that's easily divisible by another number because it makes the whole process easier. I'm going to select my ellipse shape and I have a stroke and no fill. I'll just head to the center of the canvas here, so right about there, and command click. Now I just created an ellipse, so it's automatically populated 2500 pixels in both width and height. If it doesn't in yours, just key that in, and I'm going to click OK. I'm going to use Power Duplicate to create all of my vertical shapes. So I'm going to start out with Command or Control J to duplicate that first shape. I want to change the width of each duplicate, but keep the height set to 2500. So I'm going to make sure those aren't linked. Let me grab my transform panel and just bring this up to the top so you can more easily see it. The first thing I want to do is make sure that the anchor here in the middle is selected. And you can see that's the largest square, so it is. If yours isn't, just click in the middle. Again, I want my height to stay the same, but change the width. So I'm also going to make sure that this isn't locked. So right now that's unlocked. I'm going to take that duplicate I just created and change the width to 2000. Remember, I want to work in 500 pixel intervals, but work at whatever works best for you. Now, if you're working with a number that you're not sure what the final number will be, you can also key in minus whatever interval you're working at. So there's my first one. Again, I'm going to use Power Duplicate to create the rest, but there's a note about how it works. Each time I Power Duplicate this shape to decrease its width, it's going to degrade and decrease by less each time. So while the first one decreased by 500, when I hit Command or Control J again, watch what happens. I have a lot less space between these two than this, and you'll also see that my width hasn't changed here. So I'm going to go up to the top, and I want this one to be 1500. So I'll just key in 1500, and now I have the same spacing on both sides. I'm going to use Power Duplicate 2 more times, so I'll Command or Control J. I'll go up to my transform panel and change this to 1000. Command or Control J to duplicate, and change this to 500. Now, I don't want to do the last one as a Power Duplicate because the width would be 0, so you're not going to see anything. Instead, I'm just going to deselect, and I'm going to use my pen tool to create a single straight line down the middle. So I can either hit P on my keyboard or select the pen tool. And I am snapping on. That makes it a lot easier. You can see it'll tell me exactly where I want to start. I'll click and then shift and click at the bottom to create that line. And now my verticals are done. I'm going to group these up, and I can create my horizontals. Instead of using an ellipse to create my horizontal lines, I'm going to use the pen tool to create straight lines that I repeat down the shape and then warp later. I'm going to create the same number of lines as I have verticals inside of my ellipse shape. So not counting my outside lines, I have 9 total here, and that's what I'm going to do horizontally. So I'll grab the pen tool again, or I can hit P on my keyboard, and I'm going to start here at the top just as a guide. And I want to make my line wider than the actual ellipse shape. So I'll start at the edge of my canvas and click, and then I'll hold Shift down and click again. Again, that makes sure I have a straight line. Now you can see that this is starting at 250 pixels. I actually want to start it down at 500 pixels so that when I warp this, I have room to move up. I'm going to hit Escape because I don't need to create any more lines. I'll just grab my Move tool. I can use my Transform panel to just move this down to 500 pixels. I'm going to temporarily deselect and reselect it because I want to use the Move Duplicate dialog box to create the rest. Now remember when I said I want to have the same number of lines here that I do inside on my verticals. If I were to move my next duplicate to 500, watch what happens. With this selected, I'm going to hit Enter to bring up the Move Duplicate dialog box. And if I key in 500 pixels, that's a pretty wide space, which means I'm going to get a much wider spacing horizontally than vertically. So I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to go to my vertical and key in half of that. Start with 250. And then I'll click on Duplicate. And for the number of copies, I already have 1 in place. I want a total of 9, so I just need 8 more copies. All right, we're almost there, but I want to bend these slightly to follow the curve of the ellipse shape. To do that, the first thing I'm going to do is group up my lines. I just find it easier with these strokes to use the warp grouping when they're already grouped once. So I'm just going to select all of them and Command or Control G. Now with that group selected, I'll go up to Vector, down to New Warp Group. I don't want to choose Mesh because that's going to give me too many junctions and it's going to make it much more difficult. The best one to use in this case is actually Quad. It's going to give me a very basic mesh grid that only has 4 junctions here. I'm going to take the top of this one and pull it up to the top of the ellipse shape. I'll take the bottom and pull it down to the bottom. And that's why I started the first line at 500 pixels. That gives me plenty of space to move up and down, but still maintain my 9 lines. Now the next step is going to depend on how tight you want your grid. If you want something more open like this, you can just call this done. I want something a little tighter, so I'm going to take this warp group and make it smaller. I want to keep the width where it's at, but change the height. Again, I want to make sure that these are unlocked because I'm only going to change the height. I'll use the Move tool to select my warp group, and you can see the bounding box is what was set originally, and that's fine. I'm going to go to the height. Now, if I wanted a really tight grid, I can bring the height down to something like 1500. But you can see that's giving me a lot of space at the top and the bottom. So instead, I'm going to kind of split the difference and go somewhere between 2000 and 1500. I'll key in 1750. That's going to give me some nice size squares there and a lot less space at the top and the bottom. And finally, I want to convert this warp group to a curve, to a regular group, because I'm going to use the Shape Builder tool in the next step, and that's going to make it easier. But I do want to note that converting it is going to remove the editability of the warp group, so make sure it's where you want it before you convert it. I'll hit A on my keyboard to bring the node tool back, or just go to the node tool. And you can see I have the option of convert to curves here. I'll click that, and that's going to change it from a warp group to a regular group. And I'm ready to get rid of all of the excess here on the outside. I have all of these lines on the side that I want to get rid of, and the easiest way to do that is using the Shape Builder tool. So I'm going to select both of my groups, and I'll go over to my tools here and choose the Shape Builder tool. You can see all of it lights up because I have both of these selected. In my contextual menu, I'm going to change the action to delete, and I can keep everything else the same. Freehand is actually going to be the easiest. When I hover over one of the lines, you'll see it lights up in red and I get a little X there. So what I'm going to do is just start at the top here and just draw across just those lines. I don't want to touch the ellipse at all. I'll bring this around and then I'll get rid of all of the excess lines on the outside. When I'm done and I deselect, I'm left with a symmetrical globe shape. If I want, I can go over to these two groups and group them up to keep everything together, or I can just leave it as is. If you have any questions about what was covered in this lesson, let me know in the discussion below. Again, I love hearing suggestions for tutorials you'd like to see here on my channel, so feel free to share those as well. I have lots more in the works, including live sessions, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so you know when new tutorials are published. If you found this one helpful, you might want to check out one of these two next. Thanks for watching.